Welcome to Talking in Stations. I am Matterall. It is July 27th. Today is patch day. We're going to go into the patch. We're going to go into the main feature of this patch, which is the Grand Heist. Talk a little bit about getting the LowSec keys and what's in those nullsec vaults that those keys open. We're also going to talk about the sale it's out. Start Out Strong, it's called. And then we're going to do what leaders are saying, the Fraternity edition, where we look at what Noro said to his guys in Fraternity, and we're going to break that down for you. With me today is Shen. How are you doing, Shen?
Doing well. Hello, hello.
Awesome. So I just got a chance to rehearse that whole opening because I recorded it with mute on, and Matterall struck again. What was the joke you were just saying? Our rival and enemy is who?
Our biggest enemy for TS is the mute button.
Like, if we could just conquer the mute button. Okay, that's awesome. Well, let's get right to it. We'll go to the patch. And what do you want to start with, Shen?
Let's start with some simple things.
Login
so there's
screen.
a login rewards. So over the next 6 days, you can collect up to total of 235 million ISK per account.
Not bad. What do you think of that?
So this is a huge boost to new players. So if you're just starting out magically today, right, then this is gonna be a great thing for you. If you subscribe for Omega, starting the first day. So, I mean, for me at least, this is a great boost to my ISK bank to buy more doctrine ships. But this is, if you think this scale for some, let's say, skill farmers, all right, people who have 60, 50 accounts, this is potentially going to be a huge ISK faucet to the game.
Yeah. Well, it is. Oh, interesting. The money is actually for Omegas, not Alphas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense because you can have a number of Alphas without paying for any of that stuff, and you just get a windfall. So, kind of makes
that
sense.
Would be unlimited. Yeah.
And it would be unlimited, theoretically.
Yeah.
So what that means is, if you had an EVE Online account, you're going to get about, what is it? About 300 million?
235.
Okay, 230. Yeah, 230, which is the price of a battleship. I think you called that out. So basically, you're getting enough money to buy a battleship if you want.
Exactly. Or let's say it's about a price of fully fitted hack. So if you're just new to nullsec, just subscribe to the game. This is potentially your first hack. Grab it and then join the war. So, yeah.
That's your advice. Join the war.
Yep. I think we need people, as many as we can.
All right, let's see if I can bring this screen out. Oh, it's over here. Yeah, there it is. Just going to scroll. Here you go. It's the actual game. And see, it says 1 of 6 gifts, so we're seeing them all. 1 per day. And okay, so there's no more, and you have 7 days to do it. So it's not much of a grace period. You really have 1 day to lose.
Yeah.
Get on it. Log in.
I mean, we have heard a lot of controversy over this this giveaway, let's say. Some people say it's good, some people say it's bad because it's basically giving people free ISK. And there are always people, I don't know, saying like when PCB give out like free skill point, there are always people saying, so people have different opinions about different things. So yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know, they complain about the PCU because nobody's logging in, and then they complain about login rewards to entice people to log in, and you just can't win. And maybe it's different people complaining about different things that they don't like, but I think CCP just has to do what they're going to do. Okay. What else we have?
So next one, I think, let's see. We have the market fee and tax reduction.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Is that part of the patch notes?
Right now, if you have, yeah, no, that's part of the dev block.
Oh, okay. We'll bring that up.
Yeah. So right now there's a 50% of a market-wide broker's fee reduction and a 50% sales tax reduction.
So it's temporary, first of all.
It's only for 3 months.
It's a good long time.
And yeah, so what used to happen beforehand is if you have accounting trained to level 5, you will have 2.5% of the tax. So how much ever you sell, you have you have to pay 2.5 of that percent of that to CCP.
Mm-hmm.
And now if you have accounting trained to level 5, you only need to pay 1.125%. So in another word, if you have accounting skill trained to 0, so you have that not trained at all, or didn't buy the skill book, you get the same amount of benefit as you would train the skill to level 5 before today's patch.
Okay. This to me looks like a market stimulus initiative to maybe get the velocity of ISK back up to stimulate that. It seems like that it kind of goes with the Grand Heist theme, but why would you give a tax break during a Grand Heist? I think they're probably trying to stimulate the economy, trying to stimulate that velocity.
I mean, if you think about this with the Grand Heist, where you have 20 trillion ISK in the reserve bank, if you sell all of that, if you pay 2.5% of 20 trillion to CCP, that would be like a big ISK sink for all players. So now that cuts down to half, which means that people can keep more of the money that they will steal from LowSec rather than paying it to CCP.
Oh, keep a little more of that. That's nice to entice this first burst of keys and grabbing money from those ESSs that are out there. I also see this as, I lost my point, but it was stimulating the economy. I think you're right. It goes with ESS and that sort of theme. And there was one other thing, and I just forgot what it was. There's
also one point, which is,
what's that? Say that again.
Right now, there's a fact, which is if you sell things in the JITA market, the JITA itself, JITA 44 Caldari Navy assembly line, if you have positive standing towards Caldari, you will have much less tax compared if you sell things in the TTT, in perimeter trade tower.
Right. So the NPC station is now cheaper than the player-owned station in perimeter for buying and selling.
Yeah. So maybe this is another step towards it. Maybe this is a side effect. We don't know, right? But this can be seen as a solution that should be put out to a very slow velocity of ISK right now from the MER we've seen recently.
Well, we've seen tax breaks before, and it does work. I sold a ton of stuff. I think it was during Christmas or Black Friday. It was during the holidays. I think it was Christmas or December 25th, let's put it that way, where they half the tax that you had to pay for selling stuff. And a lot of people took advantage of that and sold volume, right? They sold a ton of stuff like minerals and all that stuff. So I'm sure this is going to work to try to get people to sell a bunch of stuff. It's interesting that it also undercuts Tranquility Trade Tower, which is a player-owned structure, because I think CCP doesn't necessarily like offshoring, but I don't know why they haven't stopped it, just saying you can't do it. So maybe this is their way of testing out, is this a way to undercut player-owned offshoring of tax revenue?
Or it can just be a complete side effect of things, to be honest. It can be either way.
I happen to know that I can't really say I know, but I have a very strong hunch that from the very top of the developers that offshoring is, I'm not sure they like it at all. It's my hunch.
Yeah, maybe that's one of the possibilities.
Yeah. But I don't know why they haven't stopped it. Go ahead. Sorry, what?
The advanced broker relationship skill will provide 6% release be per level instead of 5%. So max right now will be
Wow.
80% instead of I think the 65 or something like that beforehand,
Yeah.
or 55. Yeah. So right now so it's less ISK
yeah.
to modify your buy or sell order.
It's weird, isn't it? Because you think like, oh, it's 5% per level. And you would think like there's 5 levels, so there's 5%. So it's, 25% less if you have level 5. But that's not how it works because it's compounding, I think. So it's a little bit tricky on doing the math of what the bonus is going to save you. But here, they tell you right here, a level 5 will be 80% reduction. So you have to be careful when you read these things. It's not just 5 times 5. 5% times 5 levels equals negative 25%. That's not how it works. That's why Eve's a little more complicated than other games.
Yeah, there are diminishing returns and stuff like that, so it's quite complicated.
Yeah, well, I think it compounds or something like that. I've always had trouble calculating benefits or bonuses or any of that stuff in Eve because it just works a little bit weird. Okay, so that's go ahead.
Yeah, that's the beauty of all those third-party softwares, right? Third-party websites. So there are actually equations that you can use to calculate all those, but it's way too complicated for, let's say, a player on a daily basis to plug in numbers and do all those substitutions and stuff like that.
Yeah. One more thing I want to emphasize, that if you're using JITA and you expect to get a lower price than Tranquility Trade Tower, you do have to have the JITA standings, I imagine, right? So it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think even without it, there's going to be slightly more benefit if you sell at the JITA than at the GDT.
So you don't even need to have high standings with JITA. What is it? The Naval Industrial. What's the group called? I have it right here.
Qatari Navy.
Qatari Navy.
Yeah, I think the lowest you can get, I think I've heard, is 0.8%. If you have like +5 or plus 10 or something like that with Qatari Navy, you can have like 0.8% tax fee.
There it is, the Qatari Navy faction. I'm going to see what my, let's see what I have here. My standings with them, not very good, 2.11. I could definitely get that higher. I think that goes up to like 8, but it takes a long time to get up there. 8 or 9 or 10 even. I think 10's theoretically impossible, but most people want to have good standings with NPC corporations they're doing business with. There's a certain number, I believe it's somewhere between 4 and 6. We'll call it 5. Utility 101 says 5.0, and that sounds right. I think it's actually a very specific number, like, I'll say 6.14 or something like that. But that would give you the best broker advantage with these any place that you're doing trade with. Yeah. All right. So there you go.
Yeah.
I like that. I really like that. That wasn't talked about too much today in our circles. People were talking about how things are broken, but that tax break, huge. I want to emphasize to you, if you have stuff to sell at volume, next 3 months, just start getting in there. I don't know if you want to do it in JITA because, the competition is going to drive your price down, but take advantage of 3 months of tax breaks. Don't sleep on that. All right. So we got the daily login gifts. We got the market fee and tax reduction. And then the big one, ESS keys.
And those sites. So those sites were not on CC, I think, before the actual release. So this is potentially the first time a lot of you have seen those sites in action.
Now, what do you mean by those sites? The sites where you get the keys, or the sites where you...
the sites where you get the keys.
All right, well, let's explain that a little bit, because we were looking at some footage over the last week and a half of... if you looked at Abby was showing us a preview of what the ESS, great heist vaults were going to look like. And we were able to see him withdrawing money from the vault. And you're looking at the vault right now on screen. What we weren't able to see is how you get the keys to unlock that vault so that you could take the money. And that was a secret until today. So go ahead, Shen, tell us what that looked like and what happened.
So you need to find sites in LowSec. So those sites can be find in all four factions, all four empires, LowSec area. I don't know if can be only found in like secured area, or it can also be found in faction warfare zones. I've no information on that. But for LowSec sites, they're very rare. You have to scan them down. And first of all, they're very rare, and there's a lot of incoming damage. You have to be very prepared. And for the ship size requirements or the limit, what I heard is you can warp in anything that's below a Titan. But I'm not sure if you can warp in a super carrier, but I'm sure you can warp in capitals like Dreadouts or Fax or a carrier. Yeah. So and those sites has incredible high damage. So I think when we can pull up one of the kill mill, there's a paladin that someone tried out with this site. First of all, they didn't know what to expect,
Hold on a second.
so they put a multi-spectrum.
Let's talk about a paladin. A paladin is a marauder, right? It's basically a class or a Tech 2 battleship. So it's super advanced, super tanky, and it's built to withstand damage.
Exactly.
So what happened?
So this marauder got instant popped. That's what I heard. It got instant popped by one of those sites. I mean, marauders, they have huge amount of rep, but they don't have huge amount of EHP. So maybe it's just a high alpha and then volleyed off the field. Another reason that I suspect why this happened is those sites, they do pure kinetic and explosive damage. So
let's see who killed him.
Yeah, so you can scroll down. It's called the SCC secured.
SCC security cruiser.
Yeah, SCC.
It looks like he's in a monitor. That should be harmless. My God.
Yeah, so it should be. So it's all Concord rats. So that means you have all kinds of damage and all kinds of E-war. Only explosive and kinetic damage. All kinds of E-war on you too. So it's really deadly, and so that means a paladin is good at tanking kinetic and explosive in armor. So, and with a multi-spectrum energized memory and a reactive armor hardener, it got instant popped. So a lot of people are saying right now the best thing to use in those sites are hardware dreads. So dreadouts that were fitted to kill sub-capital rats or sub-capital ships really fast.
Okay, so right, I get what you're saying. Lots of firepower on the player's part can prevent them from dying because these things are vicious. Are they diamond rats? Are they like...
They're diamond rats, I think. Yeah.
Okay, so they have special artificial intelligence that lets them react very quickly, just like a regular player, an experienced player. And these things pack a heck of a punch. As you can see, it took out that Nilseknia Shulpin. They're no slouchers, right? But it took out one of their marauders right away, just volleyed him off the field, apparently. So these things are no joke.
Yeah, and I mean, the good thing is that they only do certain type of damage, which means that you can tank only for kinetic and explosive. Yeah, so that's a good thing about it. But it also involves hacking, and it involves killing rats as well. So to be honest, before this patch is released, I expected a Tech 3 cruiser fleet of 3 can just do it with no problem, because Tech 3 cruiser, you can also hack those data sites, and they can also clear all those rats. So yeah, and they're also mines. Yeah,
is that still your working theory that should be able to do it?
No, it's not. Right now is
theoretically
my theory right now is so if you have to use subcapitals, it's the golem and the marshal. Both of them has insane reps, but I don't know if you can withstand the alpha of those sites. But the best thing to use, or the thing that you can use to make sure you don't die, is dreads. So it's either the Naglfar or the Phoenix. So what you do is you fill. So a capital ship has something called ship maintenance bay.
Mhm.
So you put your hacking ship in them,
Oh.
and you leave the site, you leave the ship alone, where you just bring 2 dreads, and one person either warping with another support ship or just warping with just a pod, right? So I mean, it's best to just warping another ship. So you have options in the site, so you can reship into different ships and then go through different gates. So there are 3 rooms within the site. So for the first, so when you clear out the first room, 2 people have to stay behind and hack a can or 2 cans at the same time. So the gate only unlocks for 15 seconds after that, and the third person only has 15 seconds to go into the second room solely to take on the second room. Why is it solely? Because the can and the acceleration gate has about 70 plus kilometer distance between them. So it's almost impossible.
I see. So you can't hack and be the guy going through the gate.
No, that's impossible. 15 seconds. That's just the only possible thing is if you do it in a like insane fast frigate. If you warp in the site, you get instant popped. So there's no point.
What about a micro jump drive or something?
That'll be way too much, I think.
And it may be too late. I think it's longer than 15 seconds to spool up, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is longer than 15. Because 15 seconds, I think it takes about 10 seconds to spool up, but you have to account for the align time too. So there's
plus you'll overshoot it. If it's 75K, you have to turn around and come back. You'll never get it. Okay, so you have to have a third person. So 2 guys are hacking the cans, opening the gate for the third person. The third person goes in there
for the second room, and once you clear the second room, I think you can send another person into the third room to the final hacking. And the third room has a lot of mines that's invisible. So you have to have a ship that can tank a huge damage to go around to clear all those mines before the hacking ship comes along. I think that's what I heard. I haven't done anything in LowSec, but that's all the stories I've heard, all the things I've seen.
Oh my god, this is all in LowSec. This is all in LowSec.
So this is not really meant for small game people. No, this is not. Please don't try this with Marauders. Otherwise, if you just tank it like a boss with, let's say, a golem, there's a chance you can do it, but not suggested. So what I think this is purely targeted is those big blocks in LowSec, like Snuffed Out or Siege Green. Right? Because if you want to use capitals, you have to have control over the system and the region, perhaps with Constellation at least.
Well, does everybody in the region get alerted if you're trying to get one of these keys? I thought that was okay. Good. No. So you could do this kind of on the down low. You could sneak into an area and try to get these keys without everybody knowing what you're doing.
Yeah, but as we have seen today, there are a huge amount of groups coming along, going through all kinds of LowSec systems to try to even find one site. So those sites are very rare to be seen, to be found. So I have to scan them down too.
Oh, now, how rare are they?
So what I heard, okay, this is a number I've heard again. I've heard a lot of stories today about this. So 9 groups spent 4 hours, and they only found 4 sites in total. And in one of the sites, it popped a Marauder. So kind of unfortunate, but yeah.
Is that the Marauder you showed me, or is that somebody?
Yeah, yes. Oh, okay. I think it's one of the Marauder that I showed. Yeah, so it's really hard. Don't really like try it without. I mean, I don't know if right now it's on CC after the patch today, but what's a good thing to do right now? If it is on, try it out with a Phoenix or a Naglfar and see if you can do it in the first place. If you can't do it, don't bother with it. Just forget about it.
Yeah.
That 20 trillion didn't belong to you in the first place.
Well,
So
you could try
don't
to,
worry about it.
if you're a small gang, you could try to steal this key from these guys, can't you? Once they get the key, don't they have to escape?
So that's the thing. Why it's very important to control the whole constellation with the whole region if you use capitals is so after those siege modules end the cycle. So before the siege before the site is completed, there's only a limit of 3 ships can be, or 3 capsuleers can be in the site. And so what that means is 100% safe for those 3 people who are in the site. But right after the site is completed, those people are considered in dead space. That means they can be scanned down and warped to straight. There's no gates in between or anything like that. So that means they're very vulnerable if they're left behind, right? If 3 dreads are there in dead space, and if they're still in siege, right? That means a stealth bomber fleet of 50 can just take them.
Yeah.
Really
so the dreadnoughts that have defeated this and gotten the key are sitting there waiting for their siege timer to go green again, so they can actually then do other things. They can't do anything when they're in siege, and that could be minutes,
up to 5 minutes for siege cycle.
So they're just sitting there vulnerable for 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, I think some people would be smart about it and just wait out to the last rat to have a little bit of structure, and then wait until everyone's siege cycle is cleared out, and then try to shoot it with, let's say, a capital or like a hardware gun that's not in siege. It does little to no damage, but I think that's...
Or you try to time it so your siege runs out at the same time you kill the last rat, and therefore you're not sitting there vulnerable for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's if you're using a dreadnought, which would make it a little easier for you if you were using that. It seems weird, though, to have dreadnoughts doing this kind of work.
Cut that off for me. What did you say?
Sorry. It seems weird having dreadnoughts do this kind of work, doesn't it? I mean, dreadnoughts should be siege machines. They should be... They're not subcapitals. These things should be parked outside of a structure, tearing down a structure, tearing down a wall, tearing down a bigger ship, like a supercapital. That's what a dreadnought really should be about. To use them in ratting, it feels like you're using a chainsaw to cut paper. It just seems a little too big. Okay, but whatever.
Well, that's our theory right now, right? And wait until you see a dreadout kill mill tomorrow.
Yeah, right. So
and it's like
people who hear
really
this.
trying to say that. Yeah. So I mean, dreadout are also expensive right now. To some degree, it makes sense for CCP to put such big barrier in front of the keys, because it is 20 trillion and you can get like 1 billion per 15 minutes. That's a very high is per hour, I would say. But this does require a lot of...
All right, so what's the payday? So you get this key, and let's say you make it over to the second part of this, which is to use that key to open up one of these grand heist vaults. And what were the amounts of money we're talking about that somebody could steal with that key?
So you can go to any region. Well, so each key has a corresponding region and corresponding amount of time. So the time is the number on the key times 3. So if you have a 5 key, that's 15 minutes. If you have a 15 key, that's 45 minutes. After that, so there's a corresponding region, quarter or quadrant that you can go to after you get the key. So after that, you go to that region or one of those regions, find the ESS that's full of money, right? Suggestion, Veil of Silent, Oasa, tribute. Those places are full of ISK if you get the keys, and you go there and you try to hack one of the ES. Well, you use a key to hack the ESS. So that will send out a region-wide alert to everyone in that region that's logged in.
That's everybody in that LowSec region alerted that you're trying to take money out of their bank.
15 or the 5 key for the 15-minute key, you can obtain about, I think, 1 billion to 1.2 billion over the 15 minutes. So it is a lot of money, but you have to make sure you don't die before you come out, because there's going to be a scram bubble around that 75-kilometer from the base of the ESS. So that's a scram bubble. That means you can't use micro warp drive. The only thing you can use is Afterburner. Yeah.
Right.
And I believe if you disconnect, I think your key is lost. So people who are really keen about this, or people who really want the ISK,
Keen about this.
they're ready to fight. They're ready to fight.
Yeah, here's what that looks like.
Right, it takes a lot of effort to just obtain the key, and you don't want to waste the key just like that. No, you want to use it to the full advantage you can.
See if we can zoom in on this picture so you can see what it looks like. That green blast hitting this thing is, you can see it has UI that's actually in space. That's the first time we've seen that in EVE Online. This is a, uh-oh, I'm bad. Is that a hurricane? No, Tempest? I think it's Tempest. Yeah, it is
officially Tempest. It's called a Varger. I think
that's the Varger. Okay, well, yeah. That's T2 version of.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and you can see that it's got that green beam going to that, and you can see the money being counted here. It's starting to tick up. This thing fills in here, and that's kind of what it looks like. We demonstrated that about a week ago.
Yeah. To answer in chat, so someone asked a question: could you do this from any system in the region, or can you hide it where they will know where you will be? I think the answer is going to be they will know. They will know where you are, so there's no hiding behind this. Because let's say if you do it in it's a big region, it has like 30, 40 systems. It's going to take a long time for people to find you. And if you're using the 15-minute key, then there's no way they can find you before you fully stolen that the 1.2 billion.
Okay, were there problems today with this? I heard a lot of noise about problems.
So the problem is with the site. So
which site are we talking about?
The LowSec.
The LowSec site. Okay.
Yeah, so the LowSec site. So I think one of the problems they had is the key did not spawn in your cargo after you complete the site. And I think there's another bug where, so like I said, the first room you need to hack 2 cans, and then for the third person to go through to the second room. If you fail that hack, so the bug is you have to wait a certain amount of time, and that certain amount of time can be a long time. I think that's a bug, but right now I think after it's fixed, or what CCP meant to have is you can instant retry the hacking again. And this is no sex secret. Come on.
Oops, sorry.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, here we go. No, not where they could find them, but I want to show people, like, if you're inside your game and you want to get involved with this kind of gameplay, you want to open up your agency window, which looks like this, and it usually starts out, well, something like the default window, which is a bunch of different things. You'll want to go to encounters, because what we're talking about here is the encounter surveillance system, which is called ESS for short. But so you go to encounters, and oh, it's not here. Explorations. Let's see.
Yeah, exploration and then encounter surveillance system.
Okay, CCP, you have some explaining to do. Let's see. I think I can. Here we go.
So you scroll to the
That's why I wanted to show this. This is the part that is, first of all, it's not in encounters, right? Where it should be.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's in explorations, which is kind of funny. And here's the thing. You don't see it when you bring this up because it's not one of the there's no room for it. So what you have to do is click on any one of these and drag left. You see how it drags? And then you can see it here, Encounter Surveillance System. It's the very last one. And when you click on that, it will bring up the interface for you to identify where these things are. And this is for all the ESS systems. So it's the ones that you can go and try to rob at any time. And the stuff that we're covering today in this new patch are the Grand Heist ESS things, which are the long-term bank, which is new. And that has a lot more money. The reserve bank, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
So let's go over the patch.
Patch notes.
Yeah.
Here they are. It's a lot today. A lot to go over. And there it is. The Encounter Surveillance System has received new visual update. Here's a better look at what we were just looking at. That's what it looks like now. It looked different before this.
Yeah, right. It looked a lot different.
All right, Shen, take us through the patch notes. What jumps out at you here?
Yeah, so we talk about so first of all, the graphics. So ESS has received a new visual update, as you can see right now. I think before Matterall showed it, and so there will be a new visual effects when you accessing the ESS or doing the intrusion, as they call it.
Yeah, that's that green beam you're seeing right here.
Yeah, and the new, so before what used to happen, so if you were paying, there would be a bubble, like orange bubble of 75 kilometer in radius to show up. Right now, you can see it's like a dotted line for the radius or the area of the scram bubble.
Right. I don't think it's visible in this picture here. Let's see if we can get a different picture of it. But anyway.
You can see it. So you can see the lights in the background. So that's
I see it. I see it.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
And so next, exploration. So the SCC, the Secure Commerce Commission, secure key storage sites. So that's the name of the sites that you can scan down. Are now distributed throughout low security space. These well hidden and hard to access sites are fiercely protected by the SCC against any unwanted trespass. Okay, we have seen that before with the Paladin kill now.
Yeah.
Rumor has it from the Garista pirates is that behind every SKS site lies an ESS reserve security key. Whether you want to believe the rumor them or not is up to you. So that's a LowSec size we've talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
And next one is something new. Roaming NPCs throughout Parchment are changing which points of interest to explore. Triglavian fleets will focus their attention on stations and conduit loop stargates, while Edencom NPCs will turn their eyes to sites and celestial locations, such as planets. Drifters and root zones will be more common around wormholes. Conflict zones will be around planets, sun, and that's luminality Lucas to know exactly where else the NPCs will roam to we will leave for you to discover.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that can't say anything. But planets, suns, and Daz Liminality Locus, whatever that is.
So that's a place. So in every Parchment region, in every Parchment system, you can warp to one of those
structures.
Luminatory Lucas, yeah, and that's the thing that's extracting the sun.
Right. So yes. So let's make that clear. If people haven't been part of the Triglavian invasion or the liminality systems, or now Poshfin, which were the systems that were kidnapped during this whole process. Every sun in that system will have some contraption essentially shooting a big beam at the sun, changing its color. And that's what that thing is, that locus.
Yeah. So to answer chat, so those keys, they can only be traded on contract. They cannot be sold on market.
Yeah, they're
those
called
ESS keys.
He asked the name. They're called Security Key Storage. I guess that's it. SKS.
No, that's
not the name of it, is it?
That's a general name for it. So the real name for the
key.
For the key itself is, I think, first of all, let me see.
Would be nice to know the name of the key.
Yeah, so there are 8 types of the key too. So
are they?
That's the thing.
Okay.
Okay, so here, so it's called ESS dash. The quadrant is, so it's NE, northeast, northwest NW, southeast SE, and then southwest for SW. So that's ESS dash, let's say SW, and then dash the number on the key. So it's 15 or 5. 15 represents 45 minutes, 5 represents 15 minutes. So it's times 3. Reserve security bank key, I think, or reserve security key, or something like that. So
I'll take a look at it here in contracts. I'll see if I can find it, and I probably won't be able to. But give me anything it starts with.
ESS tag.
Done.
ESS tag, and then
nothing. There's nothing under ESS here, so
it's really hard to find because nobody has obtained it yet.
But don't look at a supermarket for it, or don't look in JITA for them. You're going to look in contracts. That's where they might be.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, though, these won't be sold to public unless they're auctioned, which we may see a few auctions. Would be interesting to see. But what you may see, the diplomats of several nullsec areas being contacted saying, I got a key, I can use it, or I can sell it to you for 25% or 50% or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think someone also mentioned in chat that the change to the location of the NPCs in Parchment will make rep grinding a lot easier. So if you want to have a positive rep to any of the 4 NPC factions, right now you can go to their individual locations to kill them. So you can grind the rep fast in that way, instead of just going around and trying to find them like before.
All right. Next, we talked about the market. New Eden receives a sales tax reduction of 50% in all regions, and broker fees also reduced by 50%. So if you have the skill, you can get 6% re-enlist fee reduction. I think also, again, we talked about this earlier.
Those things only last for 3 months, so keep that in mind.
Oh, yeah. I think it's an experiment to see where the market should be, because maybe they're looking at it saying, yeah, these broker fees maybe are the relisting fee might be too high. I don't know, but I think they're looking at it to see how much it incentivizes the economy, and they'll take that data and say, like, where are we here? Where do we want to be? Where are we here? If we make these sales, do we see an increase in activity? Is that what we want? Et cetera, et cetera. So,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, mission and NPCs.
I mean, so next, missions and NPC. The restrictions on the rewards granted through sites in Parchment, such as the observatory flashpoints, have been changed. Rewards will now be paid out similar to how incursions work, in that only a single fleet which has done the most damage and healing inside the site will receive the payout. Only those fleet members present in the sites at the time the reward is granted will receive rewards if they are eligible. So
Right,
eligible means it's not cloaked, it's not inside a rookie ship, shuttle, capsuleer, or whatever that last ship is.
Zephyr, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So the point here is they're making Poshfin reward people a lot like incursions. So people can come in, over damage your targets and take the winnings for themselves, even though you've done some of the work for that. Also, it has some restrictions on who can get paid and where they need to be in order to get paid. So you're not, you don't have a bunch of people off screen basically getting paid for work for people that are on screen. So
yeah, exactly.
that's what they're doing there.
I think this has been a main complaint for a lot of parchment groups. I think this will make them very happy. Yeah.
Okay. And game system stuff, encounter surveillance system. Okay, so this is the reserve banks that it talks about. We've discussed this today. The ESS reserve keys are in LowSec, and those were a little bit broken today, but they are either fixed already or will be fixed very soon. I think I saw Ashtarothi put up a tweet saying that they were being fixed and they should be fixed quickly.
Yes, I think at least I'm expecting a patch tomorrow, just like another Wednesday. Every Wednesday there will be a follow-up patch to fix problems from the main patch on Tuesdays.
Okay, structures and deployables. Again, well, this is the defunct encounter surveillance system deployable.
So this is the old ones from the 4 empires.
Yeah.
That used to be able to deploy it, and now it's mandatory for every system. So it starts to decay of 14 days. Yeah.
So 2 weeks they're gone. Okay. UI, is there anything interesting in the UI?
So this is ESS UI, right? For those ESS stuff. And
pointed out that that's the first time. This is brand new. It's an experiment too for CCP, but the UI is actually outside the ship, so you're interacting with it. I don't know if you're interacting with the UI, but the UI is giving you information in space. And there'll probably be more of that.
And also, I think one thing that I think we should mention is right now, let's say if you have one of the keys for the reserve bank, if you go into one of the corresponding system in the corresponding regions, you can only link either the reserve bank or the main bank. You can't do both at the same time.
Got it. All right, so if there's nothing else here, the update ESS panel.
So just one small fix for the localization. So text recruiters, they don't lose any skill points on paper right now. So last week, I think last Tuesday's patch, changed the fact that they will lose skill point after destruction. So right now they don't. But it was still mentioned on the role bonus of any strategic cruiser or text recruiter. And now it's fully removed. So that has officially become a thing in the past.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I can keep all those T3 skills that I trained up and that you trained up.
Yep.
So now
people are training to level 5 right now instead of keeping it to level 4.
That's true, right? Everybody's going up to 5. It used to be like, why train to 5? You're just going to lose it. And people usually train to 4, but well, it gives me something to do. So thank you, Shen. Those are the patch notes for July, and this is the July patch, I think.
There's also the starter training bundle.
Oh, let's do that.
Oops. Yeah, a lot of things today. Yeah.
Where is that? Oh, I got it. It's over here.
Yeah. So there's a new bundle available in the Eve store, bringing shockingly good value directly into your skill queue. So the starter training boost bundle is available for about $15 USD, or 15 euro, or 12 GBP. I don't reckon.
Great Britain's pound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So it's about 500,000 skill point can be injected to whichever character you want. So it's $15 for 500,000 skill points. And you get a prototype cerebral accelerator, which provides a massive +9 bonus to all attributes.
So that means you're going to be training faster. Regardless of what you're training, you're going to get 9 points on all the attributes, which means whatever you're training, doesn't matter. You're going to be moving at +9 on the primary and +9 on the secondary. That's a huge boost.
And note that those prototypes, cerebral accelerators, only provide benefits to characters under 14 days old. So this is
huge caveat.
This is directly targeted towards those new bros, with those starters accounts at least.
Yeah. Got it. So they get a chunk. If they're a new person, this works pretty well. You get a bunch
new
of
character.
New character.
So
new character.
It says right here, benefits to characters under 14 days old.
Yeah. 14 days old is funny because that's not a character that hasn't been trained on, but is like a month old. So that makes sense to make it an actual time restriction rather than an SP restriction.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, so that accelerator only for very new alts. Alts are new players or new characters. Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So start out strong. $15 buys you. I'm trying to figure out how much 500,000 SP is. It's about 2 weeks, isn't it?
So 500.
If you're accruing at a normal rate.
Yeah. So right now, a large scale injector is about
what's 500?
That's the equivalent to a large scale injector.
Right. I'm trying to think if you naturally had to scale that up. Okay, well, they'll figure it out. They'll figure out if that's valuable.
One is about 620 million, and the skill extractor right now is about 310. So you're basically buying $15 for 310 million. If you think about it, in that sense. So I don't know. This is not really great, I think, in terms of ISK per skill point or that value, but you do get that accelerator.
The accelerator is pretty good. That's a good accelerator. All right, so it's definitely for new people.
Yeah.
All right, good luck with that, you guys. All right. Anything else, Shen? Thanks very much for walking us through the patch and the login rewards and the new Start Out Strong training bundle, and of course the ESS and what the real world looks like out there.
Yeah, I don't know if we can, but maybe we can try to get at least Astrology or Heist on later this week to run those sites if they have any experience with them, to see how those things work and stuff like that. Right. So
we'll try to get people who are successfully running them and people who are unsuccessfully trying. So.
And people who are trying to run those like ESS in LowSec too. Right?
Exactly. So both ends of those.
Yeah.
Getting the keys and then using the keys.
Exactly.
All right. Shen, thanks very much. We're going to move on to, maybe I should cut this off and start a new show when we do the Neuros. Because we're pretty much at the end of an hour. So we'll say goodbye to Shen, and we'll close this show out, and we will do another one that following this immediately. That is the fraternity Neuros address, and we'll break that down if you want to stick around for that. We will see you in just 1 minute. Everybody else, thanks very much. Thank you, Shen, and we will see you in just a few minutes, actually.